No, that's actually something we're gonna talk about probably later on this evening. That's not for right now. Yeah, so just write that down and bring that back up tonight. I guarantee you, we'll talk about it. How you doing, brother?
Shalom, shalom. I'm doing good. How are you?
Great, great myself. What's your name?
Name is Minister Yeshar Loyah with GYC Hebrew Congregation.
Okay, nice to meet you, brother. Um, is that a church, like a denomination, a Christian denomination?
No, we're an Israelite organization.
Okay, I understand. And how long you been with them?
I'm one of the co-founders. Been with We've been created since 2013.
Okay, all praises. And I'm assuming you're messianic. You believe the Messiah has came and resurrected and all that stuff.
I believe in both in New Testament. Um, so
Okay.
yeah, so basically, we Israelites believing in all what the scriptures say.
And would that include the resurrection and the immaculate conception?
Right. So that's what I met an individual online who invited me to this.
Right.
I do believe in the resurrection in two type of forms, uh, but not the immaculate conception.
Okay. That's unfortunate. How come you don't accept the immaculate conception? What reason would you have?
Because throughout the scriptures, it's clear the prophecy clearly put Christ being descendant of David.
That's what we
So
agree.
I don't.
We
Right.
agree that
So
we agree that the immaculate conception is true, and we also believe through David the prophecies.
right. So uh, to my understanding, I don't know how you guys think it, but to my understanding, Immaculate Conception is it's you go well according to the Catholic terms. Um, let me get that right too, so I don't say something.
So in Central, we just believe that because we're not Catholic, I'm not Catholic, so we just accept that Mary had a baby without Joseph involvement sexually. Is that
Right.
what you
So
believe also?
basically, what they're saying is in 1545 they defined it. It was the Immaculate Conception is they believe that Virgin Mary was free of original sin from the moment of her conception. So not only, first of all, what is original sin to the Catholic is, um, right. So like Mary did not, original sin is a Christian doctrine that feels that humans through the fact of birth inherit a tainted nature with a proclivity to sinful conduct and need of regeneration. So basically, so through sex that sin enters into the world. This is what basically they believe the original sin is. So basically, what they're saying is Mary did not sin as she was a holy woman who never had sinned through sexual activity. Um, and through that conception, she did not have, she just had a baby without having to go through that process of quote unquote sin, which is sexual activity, which
Yeah,
I don't agree with. But
but have you
so I don't know.
do
Mhm.
you have a KJV present?
Yeah, yeah, we got that.
Yeah, I'm going to share something, and yeah, I don't agree with the without sin, Mary, all that type of stuff. She's holy, and I don't know about that. But the latter part you mentioned, having sex without Joseph to give birth to Jesus, that part I agree with, and I believe that's in Matthew 1. If you can go there with me.
Right. Before you go on, so this is where I have a problem with a lot of our people that just bring some things out because when we talk about immaculate conception, you're not only talking about Christ not being birthed to to sin, but you also talking about Mary being worshipped as a perfect woman.
No,
So
no,
the
we're
woman,
no, hold on, brother. I'm not Catholic, and nobody on this call is Catholic. We borrow the term,
right?
right. So, could you keep reference that, and like we highly oppose that doctrine. So the term is not the term. Those words been around before the Catholic Church. So immaculate just means pure, and birth conception is the same thing. It just means like a clean or pure birth. So it focused back on Christ.
Yeah, I do understand where you're coming from. Basically, what you're saying is a term that you borrow to make a point. But what I'm saying is, the
Not not just terms. What I'm saying is, brother, just because a person takes words and say, "Hey, this is that," it doesn't mean we can't use those words for truth. Like Farrakhan uses Bible terms all the time. He says that he is the true Israelite. Do you believe that? Probably not, right? But that doesn't mean you can't borrow the word or use the word Israelite yourself. So just because Catholics have adopted the word immaculate, adopted the word conception is in the Bible. So just because they took the word immaculate and put a doctrine behind it, it doesn't mean when I use the same word that I gotta accept the doctrine as well. I reject their doctrine. And so immaculate, by the definition of immaculate, the word just means pure, right? It means a pure birth, like a doctrine. So if you Google immaculate right now, you're not gonna get a Christian doctrine behind it. All you're gonna get is the definition of the word immaculate. Then if you define birth or conception, it's the same thing. Pregnancy. So that's what I'm saying. Like the Catholic doctrine, we can save some time with that because I don't think either one of us are Catholic. But I do want to share something in Matthew 1, which maybe you see it the same way, maybe you don't. Whenever you're ready.
right. I was saying something before you started.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm saying you believe in Catholic. I'm just saying the term. Personally, I do understand. We don't go with Catholic, regardless of our points. I'm not saying you do believe you Catholic, and you better reject any Catholic doctrine for me to even talk to you as an Israelite. So now we clear on that. But what I'm saying is the putting of the two words together, immaculate conception, because that's what you told me in the beginning. Do I believe in immaculate conception?
Yeah. So
Those are not just.
But you didn't let me
Hold
clarify.
on, hold on.
No, I'm saying you didn't let me clarify when I said that. You kind of like took that and ran with it. Immaculate conception. When I say that, I use that interchangeably with the virgin birth. That's all.
Right. Okay. Well, anyway, so let me just finish making my point. Basically, immaculate in itself means perfectly clean, neat, or tidy. So, free from flaws or mistakes, perfect. So, even the word immaculate itself doesn't even go in the context of man, because the word immaculate means someone that's perfect from flaws. I don't know about that. So, I don't. The whole philosophy behind the word to me is fishy, and that maybe you could say virgin birth, but the minute I hear immaculate conception, I'm seeing the worshiping of Mary, because it's not just a word; it's just them saying Mary was a perfect woman. She never had sin, and that's why in the Catholic Church, that's what they use to justify worshiping her. So this is where I'm coming from.
Right. Okay. So, all right. So, do you agree with the virgin birth?
No, I mean, well, you'd have to define what do you mean by virgin
Okay. All right.
before
So,
I say that.
all right. So, let me show you something in Matthew 1. Let me know when you get Matthew 1.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Matthew 1, verse 1, it says, the book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham, right? And then from there, if you continue to read, you'll read about the generations. It says, just real quick, it says Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac begot Jacob, and Jacob begot Judas and his brethren. So it talks about all of the, that pattern, like father, son, and sometimes it mentioned a woman in between. Okay, and then it ends with verse 16. It says, and Jacob begot Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom was born Jesus, who is called Christ. And then verse 17 just wraps it up. It just say, so all the generations, it kind of like just summarize everything that just happened. Okay. So when I read for 1 to 16, I see a lot of fathers, but I don't see Joseph as a father of Jesus.
Well, I mean, it says that, okay, wait, we got in verse 15, it says, and Elud begot Eleazar. And Eleazar, but let's begin in the first verse. It says, the book of the generation of Jesus. The word generation means to generate. The book of what generated Jesus, where Jesus originated from, because that's what the word generate means in the
I
Greek.
agree.
Well, again, you can wait for me. The word generation means to generate, meaning it's also the same word for Genesis.
Right.
In
Or
the Greek.
something that causes Jesus' existence. I agree with you. I agree.
Right. So this is what caused him to exist. And it said the son of David,
right,
the son of Abraham.
Amen.
So they're about to give you a whole genealogy of where Jesus comes from. So it's the same thing when I see the sons of Shem, Axasad, and they tell you all the sons. And it's what the Bible, they give you genealogy, the generation of this person and that person.
Right.
And that we always understood it to be their lineage.
Right,
I just don't understand how do we get generation of Jesus here, which clearly say he's the son of David, the son of Abraham.
It says that.
Then we end up,
hold
on. Then we, hold on. Then we end up saying, well, that. Then we end up.
Right. So let's read the Bible. Right. So I get what you're saying, but what you're missing is this. You said when you go to genealogies and generations, it lists off, their family line, which is true. So, and like we could read it. So if we go to Genesis 5, it's going to say the generations of Adam. And we're going to read the names that's in the generations of Adam. We're going to read this father begot that son, this father begot that son. But in the generation of Jesus, we don't read his father here. We read his mother. In verse 16, it says, and Jacob begot Joseph, the husband of Mary. Mary was of whom was born Jesus, who is called Christ. So like you said, generation, something to generate, to call Jesus being. It says Mary was the one who gave birth. She generated Jesus through birth. But we don't read. We don't read Joseph.
I think.
Well, hold on, just
let's read.
Wait, hold on, just
go ahead.
You're cutting in, but you didn't know where I'm trying to ask from you. So we're reading Mary gave birth to Jesus. So we're reading Mary generated Jesus' existence. And everywhere else, it says a man begot a son, everywhere. In verse 16, it says, and Jacob generated Joseph. Eliud generated Eleazar, Eleazar generated Matham, Matham generated Jacob, brother. We don't read Joseph generated Jesus. And like, that's what I had for you. Like, where do we read Joseph generates Jesus?
Okay, so it's simple. Look at the verse again. Verse 15, and Eliud begot Eleazar, and Eleazar begot Mathan, and Mathan begot Jacob. And Jacob begot Joseph. You with me? So now in grammatical order, we know that's the subject matter here. Right. The subject matter here is Jacob begot Joseph. Joseph is the center of what's being talked about here. The husband of Mary.
Wait, Joseph.
The husband of Mary. Hold on,
subject
brother.
is the center, right? Wait, no, because you made a grammar fallacy. If the subject would be the center, not the direct object. But go ahead.
Okay, so from Mathan we begot Jacob. Jacob was the subject matter. From Jacob we begot Joseph. So the one that directly descended from Jacob, the next in line after Jacob was Joseph. So he's talking about the next in line here. The next in line wasn't Mary. The next in line was Joseph. The husband of Mary, the husband still centered around Joseph, of whom, right. I think what you're saying here, of whom here means Mary. No. The center here is Joseph. Hold on, brother. The center here, of whom, the person, because Mary did not descend from Jacob. It was Joseph, the next in line. The husband is pointing out that Joseph is the husband of Mary, from whom come from Jesus. That's all he's saying. To me, at least that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's talking about Mary because Mary has nothing to do with that lineage, right?
Okay. So Mary is from Jacob. Mary is called Elizabeth's cousin. So right, they're both from Jacob. So now,
Uh,
wait,
you said they're both from Jacob?
yeah, Jacob. Well, you didn't specify which Jacob. You talking about Israel Jacob or the Jacob that's the
Oh
father?
no, we in Matthew 1 verse
Yeah.
15.
Okay, got it. Okay, so let me help you out here. Of whom, that's a relative pronoun, right? So whom and who is the same thing. So you got Mary of whom and you got Jesus who. The same way who points back to Jesus is the same way whom point back to Mary. Also, it says David of whom in the Old Testament, it says David of whom, so and so of whom, little children of whom in Ruth. Whom points back to the last noun mentioned. It's a relative pronoun, and Mary is the last noun mentioned. Jesus who?
I think
Jesus,
we have a
hold on.
grammatical issue here.
No, we don't. So Jesus who?
So,
Hey, I got you. Let me just finish this though. It says Jesus who, right? So who points back to Jesus? Whom points back to Mary? There's no grammatical issue here. This is all coming from the Greek. So if there's a grammar, if
no,
there's,
it's not the text. I think it's understanding. The grammatical rules, I don't think it's being applied properly here because
okay, so,
if we're talking about, hold on, if we're talking about Jacob,
doesn't talk about nothing.
we talk about Martin, we talk about Jacob, then Jacob is Joseph next, the husband of Mary. He's just showing you that Joseph is the husband of Mary. He's talking about Jacob give birth to Joseph. Joseph was the husband of Mary, of whom? It's just me saying, like my father was named Olesen, right? Olesen gave birth to Yesha. Yesha, the husband of Atalia, of whom gave birth Matt. So that's just saying it's all about me. I come from my dad, Olesen, and my dad, I am the husband of Atalia, and of whom come from my son, right? The center of that word here clearly is Jacob. Listen, Jacob did not give birth to Mary. Mary is not in that lineage. Okay, it's the person, the single person they're talking about here, who's the husband of Mary, is Joseph, and of that husband of Mary comes from Jesus. Maybe that's where I'm understanding it. Maybe I don't know if we can't get to it. Maybe we're gonna need another third party
No,
to
we don't need a
actually
third.
break this
No,
down.
we don't need a third party. We don't need a third party. Well, hold on, brother.
No,
Brother, how long you gonna talk for? Just hold on. Just let me come behind you. First of all, it says Mary born Jesus, brother. Men don't born men. Okay, men begot, and that's why every man here begot. No man gave birth. Born is a past tense word. It's a past tense verb for birth. So it says Eve bare eight, Eve bare Adam came. See, so women bear born birth. Men doesn't give birth. And again, I pointed out whom is a relative pronoun that points back to Mary. So there's no grammatical error here. There's just a grammatical flaw in reading. You're eisegizing the text. You're reading into it instead of like pulling out what's actually in there. That's called exegesis. So men don't give birth. They don't born anybody. That's what women do. So Jacob begot Joseph. Will you agree? Well, at least we can agree here. Like we might disagree with everything else. But can we at least agree here that it doesn't say the words Joseph begot Jesus? Is that fair?
the word in the Greek is egenete, which means genus, to procreate,
Yeah,
right?
I'm just
Men
asking.
procreate.
Right,
Men.
but that wasn't
Now listen.
wait, but
Okay,
the
no,
question was, wait, hold on. I
no,
asked
no,
you a
no.
question. Wait, so I can't ask you a question. I asked you a question. I said just plainly in the English, does it say Joseph begot Jesus? In the English
I'm
alone.
gonna answer the first. Hold on. I'm gonna answer the first part of the born. The word here was egenete.
Yeah, I don't like going backwards. And the state of retardedness. Let me kick him off. Can't be honest. And I don't feel like doing the whole he's freestyling, he's doing Genesis, he doesn't know Greek. and I don't feel like making this call an hour call. Like, to be honest, the guy's not on my level at all. He's I'm out of his league, and I'm not going to entertain anything with him. Like we're in the same league. I'll be going backwards. This is not even fun for me. It's a huge gap in education on the Bible, especially Matthew 1:16 with that guy myself. So that guy, let me tell you who he is. That guy is so his he is a he says a co-founder of the GYC community, a Hebrew Israelite community. GYC stands for Gathering Yah Children. Okay, so he's supposed to be like an executive minister there, some big shot. And you see where his understanding is at. It's like very infantile. But we join these organizations, whether they're Islamic, Christian, Hebrew, whatever they are, Kemetic. We just see people, it looks nice, clean shave, long hair, pressed, nice dress, suit and tie, and that's enough. Good smile, and that's enough. You got us. And it's exactly how Satan looked in the garden. But the information, how do you really gauge the information? Like, you'll never know unless you hear them in a controversial debate. Then you can gauge the information for real, for real. Like, if you're coming to them for guidance, how do you really gauge the information? How do you really gauge if they're where they need to be? If they don't need more, if they don't need to go pursue more education, because maybe the congregation needs to put together some funds to send that man to seminary school, you dig, to learn a little more. That to me would be the goal, not to just remain stupid and become a leader of a religious body and don't really know the doctrine. Okay. So that's it on that one. Yeah, I'm not gonna waste my time on that guy.